has never abandoned any health facility that was started by the previous government. Now, to re-emphasize, that government has never abandoned any health facility that was started before assumption of office in 2017. But I want to recount some of the projects that we came to meet that were not completed, which we have taken time and resources to complete. I will start from the construction and equipping of 10 clinics in the central region. These were located in towns like Bisiase, Gomwa de Rampon, Briwa, Etsi Sunkwa, Bimpon Eja, Jamra, Mankron, Akumfode, Ekumfi Nakwa, and Gomwa. These were started in 2016. They were scheduled to complete in 2018, and I'm glad to inform the nation that I myself had gone around to commission all these projects as we speak. They were done sometime late 2018. There was a BK detention program that we inherited. Installation equipment had also been completed as at August 2018. Tamale Teaching Hospital was going through the rehabilitation and upgrade of the hospital. These two had been completed before we came into office. The phase 2 started in July 2015, was supposed to be completed in December 2018. And I can say with confidence that this project has also been completed, and I went to commission this project. Construction and equipping of 597-bed University of Ghana Teaching Hospital, that is University of Ghana Medical Center. When I came in, there was some controversy about whether phase 1 had been completed or not. I did a briefing here, was misquoted. We had completed phase 1, and as I speak, phase 2 is getting close to completion. The hospital has been operationalized to the extent of getting services being provided close to about 70% operationalization. We anticipate to complete the entire facility and operationalize fully by October this year. Construction of offices for Ministry of Health quarters. We inherited the project, we did some modification to it, and that too has been completed fully, and we relocated our offices from the ministries close to the Health Insurance Office in Ridge. That is where the Ministry of Health is now located. There's a program to expand the radiotherapy and nuclear medicine services at Kolebu and Konfanochi. That had been abandoned before we assumed office. I visited Konfanochi, I visited Kolebu, and there was a facility that had been arranged to the Ministry of Finance. There were problems. They couldn't access the funds, the project halted. We have managed to clear the challenges that we had with the project implementation, and as I speak, work is ongoing on these two projects. And I want to believe that by the close of the year, we will have commissioned these two projects. Construction of 2 regional and 6 district hospitals by Europe. These were projects that were designed. Loans were looked for during the time of President Kufuor. Work actually started on some of the sites. Between 2009 and 2016, none of these 8 projects got completed. There were challenges. When we assumed office, we had to engage with the contractor. I speak. We have commissioned the Wa Regional Hospital. It is in use at the moment. We had completed the East District Hospital. That is where we have fixed as the major treatment center to fight the COVID pandemic. That has become a major treatment center. All other sites like Fifupraso, Konongo, Odumasi, Nsoko, Tepa, and Sala are seeing progress. And anybody who wants to doubt this can visit these locations and you see work ongoing. We're expected to actually complete and commission Tepa and Nsoko by close of June. The rest completed around October or November. Work seriously ongoing. Construction of 7 district hospitals and integrated IT systems in Ghana. These were located in Doha, Fomina, Kumawu, Abitifin, Garutimpani, Sekendi, and Takrady. As early as first quarter 2017, I wrote a letter to the Finance Minister to actually renew the expired LC to enable the contractor access funding to work on projects. There were other challenges with it. The previous government, for some reason, refused to renew the LC to enable the contractor access funding as far back as July 2016. So the projects were abandoned before we assumed office. The only one out of this that have been completed and in use was the Dodoa project. Others were at various stages of completion. Over the last 3 years, I have had sleep nights with the contractor who was supposed to do the projects. I've written more than 5 letters. We have engaged and met several occasions. Promises upon promises will make me go and tell the public that the contractor is ready and is mobilizing to site in the next 2 weeks. That never happened. The Minister of Finance insisted on the value for money audit to check on how much money had been spent on the project, because on assessment you could realize that if you compare money left sitting down as balance in the account and work left undone, you could easily see that the money couldn't complete the projects. So there was a need for some audit to be done. That audit took some time because of documentation that the auditors needed, and the contractor had unwillingness to actually submit these documents in good time. When the report was submitted, we were advised to terminate the contract. There were issues in it. I went back to finance to insist that terminating the contract will mean another 6 months to be able to do the litigation issues and re-awarding. But we wanted the project to complete, so they should allow us to go ahead and allow the contractor to work whilst we talked on the site to resolve issues that had come up in the report. I got a hearing. We submitted all documentation to Attorney General's office for advice. They asked us to engage the contractor to do 3 of the projects that had advanced in relation to works to be done. And the rest, we should sit down there, and whilst they come on site to complete the 3, we talk about these. The contractor assured us we'll be moving to site. We were demanding things to be done. The initial thing was him to mobilize to site to look at dilapidation assessment That was done, got a report, sat down with it, we agreed on what we should do. He guessed how much we need to complete the work. On our assessment, we also give an estimate. So it's like we were not agreeing at one stage. Even that, we insisted and asked him to come and start work whilst we talk about the difference that was sitting between the two parties. We didn't get any serious hearing from the contractor. We asked him to give us bills of quantities to complete. After some time, he sent us a note that he couldn't submit the bills of quantities. And that, because we wanted to complete the projects, we said to the contractor to mobilize the site, and once they be together, we'll assess and get the proper bills of quantities to guide it in project implementation. In course of this, after waiting, and not hearing any good news from the contractor, I wrote a letter to signal a notice of intent to determine the contract. The response that came wasn't very good to us. That meaning we didn't have any other option than to write to Attorney General's office for advice to determine the contract. We are waiting for the last meeting at the EMT for us to know where we should go. But we have decided to actually determine the contract, look for another contractor who has capacity to come in to do the work for us as quickly as possible. And we believe if we are able to jump this hurdle, we might complete these full two projects before the end of the year. So nothing has been abandoned. I've talked about University of Ghana Medical Center Phase 2, which is virtually completed, and some operationalization is there. The intensive care unit of that place has been dedicated as a treatment center for COVID patients. And as I speak, there are people in there receiving treatment in that place. Construction of 5 district hospitals in Sola, Tonso, Bupe, and Weta, and the polyclinic in Amboy. All these projects are going. The contractor is seriously on site, and they are keen to complete for us. Overall, the projects between 45 to 65% completion. I have visited Weta, and I know what is there, and I know what I'm talking about. Weta is in Volta region. Construction of 5 and upgrading of 1 public health facilities in the western region. Akontomra, Elubu, Bogoso, Mpoho, Nsayim, Wasedunkwa. I did the short cutting for 5 of these projects sometime last year. There were a little bit of problems, the contractor and the funding agency, but as I speak, all the contracts, the subcontractors are on site, they are mobilized, and work is actually progressing without any serious challenges any longer. Completion of the equipment of Bekwai District Hospital. This was a project that was started at Kwame Nkrumah post-independence. There were challenges. So government at the time abandoned that place. President Kufuor's time, that place was picked up to do Takwa and, what is that place that we did the other one? Is it Takwa? Yes, Takwa and Bekwai. Unfortunately, Takwa got completed, but after Kufuor's exit, Bekwai was again abandoned. 2017, we started working on how we can get Bekwai. There were a bit of problems, but we managed to resolve the problems. And last 2019, I went personally to commission, cut the salt to raise at Bekwai. We are getting close to completion. And last week, when the president met the Ghana Medical Association, fortunately for us, the Vice President of the Association is now the medical superintendent of the Bekwai Hospital. He said to us confidently that some places have been included to the extent that we can use 1 block as a treatment center to fight the COVID battle. So we are fixing a place now to dedicate it as a treatment center to add on the few places we have in Ashanti region. So, of course, ordination and equipment of 4 selected facilities, these are all in Eastern region. Tete Kwashi Memorial Hospital, Chebi District Hospital, Aburi, and Atibi hospitals. Again, I went to do the sword cutting for all these projects. The contractor is on site on all 4 sites, and work is progressing steadily. We have managed to actually start to complete 15 ship compounds in the first instance, located in different parts of the country. Then another package of 26 ship compounds, expecting that all these 16 plus 26 will be commissioned this year for use. Apart from these, when we realized that we are about completing all works that were ongoing before we started working. Apart from the chip compound that we have done, we have rescheduled the rehabilitation of Bolga Regional Hospital 2. And was it last 3 weeks or so? We completed all arrangements, and the contractor has mobilized to site to complete that work. We are in the process of completing procurement processes for equipment to be brought to actually complete the Wa Regional Hospital Phase 2. Completion of equipment of Komfanoche Teaching Hospital, Maternity and Children's Block. This place has left undone for close to 40 years. We have now completed almost every exercise. Immediately, restrictions on gathering, public gathering, is removed. We will see sword cutting and Fanoche to actually begin to complete the old time maternity work that have been left undone over several years. We have scheduled and got parliamentary approval. As I speak today, we are negotiating on the value for money report to the contractor, and soon we will mobilize, contractor will mobilize for us to do sword cutting to start construction of Koforidua Regional Hospital. We have scheduled to do district hospitals at Owasi, a trauma hospital at Enyinam, and rehabilitation of the NUNC government hospital. This is part of our program this year and next year. We've also got parliamentary approval, and we are about finishing details that we can do to enable contractors that have been selected with funding to go to do Shama Hospital project and General Hospital. Whoever passes on the beach road, if you see like General Hospital on the right side, just be a little bit inquisitive and go in there and look at what is sitting there as a General Hospital. Structurally, that place shouldn't be habitated. Engineers have given indication that that place can come down any day. So we took a bold step to try to change the face of that place. The medical superintendent there has been relocated to Ga East. So that place is virtually going to be empty to enable us pull down and build an holding high-rise hospital facility at that same grounds. Because of space, we can only build into the sky. All arrangements have been done, cabinet has approved, parliament has approved. We are now working with the contractor to actually begin implementation. We have again scheduled to construct a urology and nephrology center of excellence at Kolebushin Hospital. Again, we've got cabinet and parliamentary approval. We are just tying knots to enable the contractor to site. This will complete in 2022. again, we have scheduled and got parliamentary and Senate approvals to do the completion of a new 330 beds maternity block at Kolebu Teaching Hospital. This project is also expected to complete in 2022. Tema General Hospital has been scheduled for a new look. So we're going to construct Tema General Hospital as well as central medical stores and the rehabilitation of 2 district hospitals at Nkranza and Ma. We have also got cabinet and parliamentary approvals to do 12 hospitals in Eastern Ashanti, Ahafo, and Greater Accra. Places like Jumapo, Kwabeng, Nkweta, Adukrum, Achiasi, Suame, Drobonso, Sanum, Manson Kwanta, Kredie, Mim, Ponkatamanso. We've got approvals, sources of funding ready. We are only waiting to complete documentation to board the contractor, move to sites to do all this project. We are working to source funding now to do Rage Phase 2 to give the place the look that it needs to have. Contractor has already been selected, tying notes to get documentation to go to cabinet for approval, and again we'll follow up to Parliament. We have also selected to do 2 district hospitals even before the president's announcement. When we got indication of an allocation or some part of the Sino Hydro facility that government was arranging to take. So we listed 22 districts with hospitals to do. If they are completed all arrangements and engagement with the Sino Hydro project, by now 22 district hospitals will have been started. So the plant is not talking out of nothing. We needed to complete what we came to meet. Once we planned to do our own, we couldn't have left all the 10 in East Central, 5 in Greater Accra, about 4 in Ashanti, and some other places. But when we worked and realized that, yes, we have done a lot, we also need to leave legacy. We started going into our own area. And if you have listened very carefully at what I have done, it's a clear indication that the president has a vision and the government has none. So now that he has mentioned the entire 88, how did he come by the 88? We were working already, but on the quiet. And with the outbreak of this pandemic, the president also challenged us to start looking at treatment centers across the country for infectious diseases. Even there, we have awarded some contracts that I may start visiting for Ghanaians, our people, to see how the president thinks and what instructions he gives us and how we also work with these instructions. So we are working on getting comprehensive treatment centers in places like Sewua, Zebila, Pantan, Dodua, and Asanrienso, Goso, Cape Coast, Kolebu Teaching Hospital again. That has actually started. And 2 small facilities, 1 good one in Kolebu, and the previous unit rehabilitation again in Kolebu, Takoradi, Nalarugu, and Sunyani as well. So these are things that will make us strengthen some part of our system. But if we have got all this complement of infrastructure coming, I think the president should have confidence to announce to the nation that is going to do 88 hospitals. We knew what was there already, and he can't think that We go through this pandemic, and our health system will continue to be as we sit here. So that is his vision. We have been exposed. If we thought that we had the health system that's situated to save us, the pandemic has given us challenges, and we could see that there is a need for the president as the government to do something more than what I've done in the past. That is the situation. And now that the president has spoken, the rest of us don't have much options than to go ahead to do what he wants us to do. My good friend, the Minister for Information, was talking about the economy and its resilience. I'm hearing nuances on radio and television about it wasn't in the budget. But COVID was not in the budget. That is correct. But all of a sudden, we've managed to buy PPEs, we've managed to award a few contract treatment centers, we've managed to quarantine people, initially 1,030 for 2 good weeks in good hotel Accra. And we have paid for all of them, to the extent that one foreigner sits out of the hotel rooms using selfie, telling his people back home that Ghana, come and see where I'm living. A big 3-4 plus hotel, star hotel, to be paid for by the state. There's a lot that we have done over the last few months. All these expenditures were not in the budget. But when my colleague, the finance minister, went to Parliament to seek approval for the 1 billion facility from the IMF, he mentioned that this money is supposed to support lost revenues and additional COVID-19 expenditures. So there is hope. And if you dream or you don't dream big, God doesn't bless you to do big things. Thank you very much.
That's the Health Minister, Kwekwagyama Menu, there, giving an update on what is happening to the previous hospitals or previous health infrastructural projects left by the previous administration. He talks about what's in the central region, about 10 polytechnics, which he says have all been completed in 2018, and the fact that installation of equipment there have also been completed as of August 2018. He talks about the Tamale Teaching Hospital, which he says phase 2 has already started. It started in July 2015. He says it was completed and commissioned. 597-bed UGMC, you know about the controversy that came up with it as well. He says phase 1 has been completed. Now that phase 1 that is completed is what has been designated as a treatment center for COVID-19 patients. And we brought you that inside view put together by Komla Adom, who visited that place. He says the second phase is also being pursued. The works are already being done, and he's looking forward to it to its completion, or its full completion, by end of this year. And then it will be fully operationalized. That's the University of Ghana Medical Center. He talks about expanding the radiotherapy project at Kolebu Teaching Hospital, which he says works that are ongoing. And then he talks about the Wa Regional Hospital, which also became an issue of political rhetoric. He's indicated that that hospital has also been commissioned by himself. Talks about the Northeast District Hospital, the 7 district hospitals across the country, and he lists them. He talks about the expiration of contracts which they had issues renewing, essentially. He says the previous administration refused to renew an LC, and the projects were abandoned even before the NPP administration took over. He says, in exception of the projects ongoing at Dodowa, the project was abandoned, or the other projects, which is in the 7 district hospitals that were listed by the previous government to be dealt with, were all abandoned before the NPP took over. He also talks about the Bekwai Hospital, at which point he brings in the Ghana Medical Association. He says the Ghana Medical Association is currently, the president is currently the medical director, superintendent there, and so talks are ongoing to make sure that it is completed. But there were some problems that he talks about. He says those problems are being resolved and the hospital is getting close to completion. He goes on to talk about CHIPS compound, and of course you know that CHIPS compound have become the referral point, especially when most remote communities cannot reach the district for hospital or for medical care. We'll take you back there. The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Abuaji, has taken the stage and will be talking as well. But the minister then goes on to talk about the Volta Regional Hospital, which he says has been renovated.